His new, more mysterious, more beautiful than humanity's dreams, the largest telescope ever flown, launched into deep space on Christmas Day 2021. The Dark Matter Files Webb Space Telescope has already lived up to its hype as the most advanced space observatory ever launched. Since its deployment, it has provided some of the most breathtaking and scientifically provocative images of our universe. One image in particular, a haunting deep field capture of what appears to be a chaotic, uncharted region of space, has ignited a storm of intrigue, awe and speculation. It wasn't just the public who felt the stir. Even those who have long stood as voices of scientific reason were moved. Among them Bill Nye, the ever-enthusiastic science communicator who has spent decades educating the world on space physics and critical thinking, finally stepped into the conversation. His reaction, long anticipated by fans and skeptics alike, marked a notable moment in the dialogue surrounding the Webb telescope's discoveries. Before we start, smash the like and subscribe buttons for more updates. The image in question was released as part of Webb's Deep Space Observation campaign. Unlike its predecessors, this telescope has the ability to peer not only farther into space but deeper into time, capturing light that has traveled across billions of years. What appeared in this image was not merely a snapshot of distant galaxies or nebulas, but a tangled web of cosmic structures and phenomena that defied expectations. Several researchers had anticipated a high density of early universe galaxies, but the clarity and density presented in this image painted a picture that was almost too rich, too intricate to immediately make sense of. It wasn't just the quantity of galaxies, but their peculiar irregular formations that demanded closer scrutiny. There was something deeply unsettling about the photograph. Nestled among the elongated spirals and elliptical galaxies were strange thread-like structures, and what some initially speculated might be proto-galaxies caught in the act of forming. These weren't mere specks of light on a black canvas. They shimmered with energy, twisted like cosmic filaments, and sprawled across the frame in a way that broke conventional patterns to the trained eye. This was no ordinary formation. Astrophysicists pored over the data, trying to match what they saw with simulation models of the early universe. The match was loose at best. What appeared in Webb's field of vision suggested either a radically faster rate of early galaxy formation than expected, or some other less understood process at work. Bill Nye, typically a measured voice in the face of new scientific data, found himself deeply captivated by the image. His reaction wasn't sensationalist, nor was it overly skeptical. Instead, he approached it with a raw and sincere sense of wonder, a tone that resonated with a global audience. For someone who has spent his career boiling down complicated scientific ideas into digestible, engaging content, this moment was different. There was no easy analogy to explain away the alien beauty of the Webb image. It was in essence a puzzle delivered by the cosmos itself, a riddle written in infrared light. What made N's reaction so compelling was the way he acknowledged both the scientific and philosophical implications without attempting to offer false certainty. He didn't provide answers because the image didn't come with them. Instead, he reflected on the sheer scale of what humanity was witnessing. It wasn't just about seeing farther, it was about seeing differently. The structures caught in that Webb image weren't just faint glimpses of ancient light, they were clues to the very architecture of space-time, woven into the fabric of a universe we barely understand. Scientists around the world debated the implications. Some suggested that what we were seeing could indicate alternative models of cosmic inflation. Others speculated about dark matter distributions and the role of exotic matter in shaping such formations. Still others considered the image in the context of multiverse theories, positing that these unusual cosmic threads might be gravitational echoes or scars from dimensional interactions. Each theory, no matter how bold, was an attempt to explain the inexplicable. The image forced cosmologists to reconsider assumptions about the uniformity and symmetry of the early universe. From a scientific standpoint, the most disruptive element of the image may have been its defiance of scale. Several galaxies appeared to be forming in dense clusters far earlier than models had predicted. The timeline of star and galaxy formation, previously thought to follow a predictable curve of cooling, collapsing and coalescing, now seemed prematurely accelerated. If galaxies of that complexity were indeed forming that early in the universe's history, then everything from the rate of matter accumulation to the behavior of gravity in the early universe may need to be recalibrated. NY's commentary didn't dive into the weeds of astrophysical equations, but it did highlight what makes this moment so profound. This wasn't simply about cosmic craft or expanding our galactic senses, it was about being confronted with a truth that slipped just beyond our grasp, a reality so vast and ancient that our finest instruments still render it in incomplete terms. He spoke to the emotional weight of such a revelation, the unsettling beauty of the unknown, the humility that comes from glimpsing forces that have shaped everything we know. For the general public, the image took on a life of its own. Artists reimagined it in surreal renderings. Philosophers weighed in, discussing the metaphysical implications of seeing structures that predate our solar system by billions of years. Educators scrambled to incorporate the image into their curriculum, while spiritual thinkers contemplated its resonance with age-old questions about creation, existence and purpose. It wasn't merely a scientific event. It was a cultural one. The most persistent thread in all of this was or not fear, not confusion, but a deep stirring sense of awe Nye tapped into that. He didn't claim to know what the image definitively meant, but he did emphasize the importance of continuing to look, to ask, to probe deeper. The Webb telescope in his view wasn't just an engineering triumph, it was a philosophical tool. With every new image it captures, it invites us to step beyond the confines of everyday perception and confront the extraordinary. It shifts our perspective, stretching our imaginations to accommodate possibilities previously unthinkable. There was also a distinct emotional weight to the moment. Nye, whose career began in classrooms and TV studios, found himself reacting not just as a scientist but as a human being. There was wonder in his voice, but also something softer, reverence, the kind of reverence one might feel when standing on the edge of the Grand Canyon or hearing a piece of music that stirs memories. Buried deep within the psyche, the Webb image wasn't just data, it was an experience, a moment of encounter with the cosmic unknown. The impact on younger generations cannot be overstated. For students who had grown up with NY's energetic lessons on Newton's laws and planetary orbits, seeing him respond with such solemn amazement bridged the gap between science and sentiment. It made the pursuit of knowledge feel more human, more accessible. In that moment, science wasn't about solving, it was about seeking. The implications of the Webb image extend far beyond the frame. It challenges our very sense of cosmic chronology. If the early universe was more complex and active than previously thought, then our models for its evolution must be revised. It affects how we think about time, space, and causality itself. It may even shift the way we search for life beyond Earth. If the structures captured in the image are typical of other regions of space, then the potential for habitable environments, planets, even microbial life might be far broader than previously assumed. In the context of space exploration, the image adds urgency to humanity's quest to move beyond Earth. The more we learn about the universe, the more apparent it becomes. Sometimes it's about finding better questions. The Webb image has sparked 1,000 of them. Each strange filament and glowing arc is a story waiting to be told, a narrative encoded in light, traveling unfathomable distances to reach our fragile blue. To see Nye respond with such wonder is to witness the human spirit in its most genuine form, not the spirit of dominance or conquest, but of inquiry and reverence. The Webb telescope may be a machine, but what it captures transcends technology. It brings us closer to the truth of our place in the cosmos, not central, not dominant, but deeply connected. The structures we see are our ancestors, in a way, stellar nurseries and galactic cradles that preceded us by eons, yet somehow still reach us, still influence us. The moment Nye broke his silence wasn't a revelation of facts but of feelings. He voiced what so many silently felt, or curiosity and a renewed sense of purpose. The universe had spoken in light, and for once humanity listened, not with conclusions but with wonder. As we continue to analyze that image and the ones to come, we do so with eyes wide open, reminded that the cosmos still holds its secrets close. But for a moment, just a moment, it let us in. The haunting image captured by the dark matter files space telescope did more than just present new cosmic data. It reshaped the collective mindset of humanity in a profound and lasting way. As the image circulated, revealing a tumultuous, intricately detailed sector of the universe, it became clear that what Webb offered wasn't just science, it was a moment of realization, a silent cosmic communication. The very act of observing such a region, so far, so alien, so fundamentally untouched by the human story, forced a reconsideration of the foundations upon which astrophysics, philosophy, and even identity are built. With instruments capable of peering into the deepest stretches of time, Webb unearthed a part of the universe where standard cosmological assumptions seemed to crack. The image wasn't merely a static record, it was a dynamic confrontation with the universe's past and our future understanding of it. The strange light signatures, unusually formed clusters, and curious spatial relationships challenged even the most seasoned astronomers. Data streamed in, but interpretation lagged behind. The configuration of the filaments and the spectral frequencies suggested energies and events that weren't accounted for in current models. The initial scientific response included a surge of theoretical recalibration. Research teams scrambled to simulate what might produce such high-density clusters and chaotic motion so early after the Big Bang. Perhaps there were forces or particles influencing cosmic expansion and early structure formation that had yet to be observed directly. Dark radiation interactions among hypothetical early massive particles, or even new variants of quantum gravity theories. Every serious scientist understood a single anomaly does not overturn physics, but it does invite an opening. That opening widened with Webb's precision. For Bill Nye, a step forward at this junction was not a typical science media moment. It signaled a turning point in how information bridges from raw discovery to cultural absorption. His focus has always been on popular engagement, often guiding public understanding through playful yet accurate explanations, but this time his tone carried a solemnity, a subtle shift. He didn't perform science, he responded to it. The Webb image didn't require a breakdown of scientific principles, it demanded a reckoning with cosmic immensity, with the fact that we're gazing into a period of the universe never before seen in such high fidelity. The silence Nye had maintained until that point was noticeable. Scientists had weighed in with technical papers and cautious predictions. The media, as always, grasped for sensational headlines, but NS delay created anticipation. It wasn't about withholding insight, it was about honoring the depth of what the image revealed when he finally offered his reflection. It echoed a collective sentiment. This wasn't something to rush past, explain away, or repackage into a digestible sound bite. It was something to behold. The implications of the image stretch far beyond our current comprehension. Time as we measure it is a human construct tied to our movement through space, yet this image revealed regions of space in their most primal states long before Earth had formed, before our sun had ignited, before even the elements of life as we know them had coalesced. The light from these ancient structures traveled billions of years only to land on a mirror engineered by human hands. In doing so, it created a bridge not just across space but across eras of existence. What further astounded